So we're big, we're bad, we're back. I'm in black, and we're at Hansa Studios with the rather amazing Mr. Moses Schneider. How the devil are you? Are you good?
I'm good, yes.
Yeah?
I'm quite tired, but yes.
Well, we put you through, wait there, this is day 6.
Yes, day 6 and every day 10 hours. Every day.
Yeah, we did 3 days of drum samples and grooves and just knowledge on drum recording, which was, I'll be honest, absolutely amazing. There's one thing that Moses is, and that is modest. Modest Moses.
Modest Moses? Okay.
Modest Mose.
Momo.
Momo. There you go. You heard it here first. Momo.
Momo, okay.
No, it's been absolutely wonderful. It's interesting because I posted a photo. Actually, Kasha took it. I posted it of the setup. And everybody's like, so many mics and so many cables and all this kind of stuff. I think you've got a core of what you would expect. You've got your snare tops. You've got mics on the toms, a hi-hat. You've got a kick inside, a kick outside.
Yeah, I call it the standard.
Yeah, the standard pair of overheads, nicely in phase with the snare.
Hopefully.
Definitely. But then you've got, 3 of your techniques, which are absolutely phenomenal. One I have yet to adopt, and that's just the Droom. The Droom is like the most obvious idea that nobody else has ever thought of. It makes perfect sense because you have the mics, first of all, pointing away from the kit, but at the kit, so there's no phase issue. So there's not that kind of like reflection, delayed room sound, number one, but you still get the sound of the room, but also brilliantly with the cymbals in the null point.
Yeah, the blind spot.
The blind spot. How did you come up with it?
Yeah, how? That was when I worked with the band and I listened to the talkback mics, and because they are also, like facing the guitar player, not the drums, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So, and I realized, wow, it sounds really cool when you record the room, not the drums. But obviously it was too far away, and the closer I got to the drum, the more I realized, wow, I'm on a good way, So I ended up with 2 talkback mics, as close as possible to the drum kit, facing the other side, and then I realized, wow, that was a good move. And first I started with a Shure SM57 and other talkback mics. And I ended up with a Super Cardioid because of the character, because you have this, it's very straight, it's directed, straight to the opposite side, but you also have something on the other side, like behind, and then you have this, the blind spot. And it's a perfect place for the cymbals, Yeah, I mean, you don't get rid of the problem of the high frequencies when the drummer is really playing the cymbals very, very loud. Then you have a problem anyway, and it doesn't matter where you place the microphones. If you have a drummer who knows how to play cymbals, and then it's perfect. You can compress the room, you can do everything, you can distort, and the cymbals are okay. You know what I mean? So. That's the reason why I really do love the Droom.
Well, it sounds absolutely phenomenal. The Wurst mic, otherwise known as the sausage mic. I've heard it called other less polite things. Maybe we should avoid that. That is quite miraculous. The way that you compress it, but also your boost in the low end makes it like the perfect mono mic. It could just be the drum kit.
Yeah, the Wurst is not just a trash mic. For me, it's a most important mic because normally when you have your standard mics, everything is cool, all super cool, but maybe you look for some character. And then I have this trash mic here. But it's just, okay, you help, the drums with a little bit of a trash mic because it's too trashy. And I thought it should be the other way. You should start with your character mic, and when you need some information, you can help with the close miking, so a little bit of kick, a little bit of snare, but the Wurst is the loudest. And then it depends on the music, Depends. Sometimes I put lots of distortion on it or over compression. It depends on the music. When I work with a Wurst, I use the groove gate, formerly known as noise gate. As I always say, to tighten the sound. before it hits the level of distortion and over compression, because it's fun to have kick and snare like really be funky, like really doing it. But sometimes you have too much hi-hat or cymbals, and then it's cool to control, the how much hi-hat do you need in the compression, how much hi-hat do you need in the distortion. So that's the reason why I always have a groove gate before I distort or over compress things. And with the Wurst is in the middle, in the center position. So as I say, the pressure always comes from the center, not from left and right. So that's a short story about the Wurst.
It's absolutely phenomenal. Whenever you solo any of these mics, there's such a unique sound. And I often think to myself, because, we're always trying to record a drum kit perfectly, and it makes absolute perfect sense. But when you walk into a live room and a drummer's playing, it's loud, it's painful, it's like a visceral expression. You're like, And if you record it all absolutely perfect and you pull up the fader, it's like boom, da, da,
exactly.
It's like this polite.
Yeah, no one is sweating. The drummer is going like this. It's all like, I know.
So we're trying to bring in that sort of visceral reaction that you get from being in a room where the drummer is playing.
Yeah.
And I think that all these techniques that you employ bring that energy in.
Yeah, you make the drummer sounding bigger than life, or you can feel that the drummer is sweating, when he plays or when she plays.
The last technique, I think, is, I don't know how ever you came up with this, but the scenario. And what's interesting, because the photo that Kasia put up, one of the comments was talking about George Massenberg's overhead techniques, about how he puts them at an angle to the drum kit. And what's interesting with the scenario is you do the same angle, because it's hard to sort of, I don't almost have to draw, but it's like at a diagonal across the kit rather than left and right like this. It's this shoom, so that you sort of hear the hi-hat and tom like with the kick and the snare in the center. And you do the same thing with the scenario. You actually angle it like this so that the kick drum is in the center through the snare.
Yes.
Which gives you great stereo.
Yes, thank you.
It does.
Yeah, the idea is with the scenario, sometimes I call it the underhead, not the overhead. That means it's not only about a snare drum in stereo, because it's called scenario, but it's more about like when you're in a situation when even overheads are too roomy, too far away from a dead, dry sound. And then you have these 85 centimeters or 1 meter or even more, and you have too much room information in between. And with a scenario, you have like 20 centimeters, it's just a quarter or even less. There's no room information at all. So it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter in which studio you are, you have your scenario sound, and it's in this position, you have lots of low frequencies, the low frequency from the floor tom, the kick drum, even the snare drum has low frequencies, and you don't have any room information at all. With this position, you have one mic is closer to the floor tom, one mic is closer to the hi-hat, so you have a perfect stereo picture and a true stereo picture. And for sure, because of the omnis, I use omnis. I started with cardioid and very close to the snare, and then I thought, no, we have to go lower, and then change to omni, and then was like, wow, here we go. And then it deserves lots of low frequencies, so it's always fun, to push all the low frequencies on the equalizer. You see it here, it's like maximum 11. So this is fun. You never would do something like this, but then you realize, wow, what a great sound in this position. For sure, I use the groove gate again to tighten the sound, and then we have these wonderful stuff like from Elysia, the enveloper, this frequent depending transient designer. device. And this is, that helps the scenario so much, because you can really say, I want to have a sustain on this frequency. I want to have attack on this frequency. And so this is really fun to play with. And this is also, the Wurst and the scenario, they together, it's like, here we go. I don't need any other mic, to be honest. Because it has everything then. And with the Droom, you have this roomy, overcompressed, huge drum sound. Then you go to this dead dry scenario. So when the drummer is playing, you have two choices already. Dead dry or roomy, overcompressed, distorted. And I love that. You make the drummer sounding like an 808 just using the scenario, and John Bonham at the same time with the Droom. So have both of them at the same time.
So the Elysia, a big part of your sound then?
Yes. Yep. Yes. End of the 90s, but it was the first time I could work with a transient designer. And I thought, wow, this really changed my way of treating signals. 3 years ago, I met Ruben Tilgner from Elysia on a convention, and we were talking to each other. And I said, "Well, the last time a device or something really changed my life was the transient designer." And he said, "I built this," and I was like, "You built the transient designer?" So, yeah, I'm the man with the voice. I said, okay, let's do something together. Yes, and since then, I feel like we are on the same wave, wavelength somewhere. This guy is crazy in a positive way. Mm-hmm. He builds these circuits. It's fun to treat the signal with stuff from Elysia, and the enveloper, for example. This goes not even to 11. It says 15, So 11 is full on, and then you have an extra ditch, and it's 15. So you know what I mean? So with Elysia, you can go one step further. And when you see this, all the poties there on the Elysia stuff, it's all maximum, That's also one thing, if you have the possibility to go to the maximum, go to the maximum. If there's a chance to go to 11, go to 11. If there's 15, take 15. You know what I mean? Yeah. You have other tracks where you do nothing, which is okay, respect. And so you have faders. You push the faders, wow, because they treat it heavily. And then you have they are treated not at all. And both together, hey, cool world.
We see we have a pair of 1040s, and you were using these as overheads. In fact, you actually end up using quite a lot of the Lewitts, the 1040s. But I suppose what I should actually mention first, that you've been doing, which I have not been doing, which is foolish of me, is you use the 640, the Rex, because it has the condenser and the dynamic.
Yes. Yeah, this is really a nice concept for a microphone. I use it quite often, not only for kick drum. I used it also for recording guitars, because you have dynamic and condenser at the same time. I like these settings here. It says plus and plus. So
plus and plus. We know Moses.
Yeah, so that means,
we know Momo.
So they also could say 11. Yeah, so okay. So this is my favorite setting then. I like the concept because you only have one microphone, but two choices of color, immediately. And we had this when we recorded the drums. We had another mic of Neumann U47, in combination with this one, perfect, because the U47 brought the sound we know, the old one, the new one. It's everything in one microphone. Then with the dynamic capture of this one, we had this very modern ditchy. Yeah. So this one. And with the condenser, we had this sub. We got very, very low, very, very low. And so we had all three colors. And cool mic. This is my kick drum microphone, and for guitars as well.
I love the idea for guitars. Yeah, makes perfect sense that you can you can use the amount of low end that you want while also controlling the bright end separately. And then the 1040, which of course is their flagship mic, you ended up favoring the dark setting for overheads, yes?
Yes. We started with dark. Then I made a blind test with Nani, and we ended up with warm. But when we recorded with dark modus, it reminded me of a ribbon mic. I was really surprised how loud and how fat the snare drum is in the overheads. Really cool. So I'm very, very surprised by this microphone, to be honest. I always like a concept when you can do something, so you can go from fat to tube. Really, you have all the characters here. Super.
Yep. And I think you had a 60 dB pad, didn't you? I think you were running 40, weren't you?
In the beginning.
And then you took it off?
Yeah, we started with dark and 40 and ended up with warm and linear.
Ah, okay. Nice. On full tube?
Yes.
Yep. And no polarity switch. We were talking about specialty mics. We were talking about the Verst, talking about the Snario. We should give a shout out to what you were using for the Snario, because you were using these new Neumanns.
Yes. First of all, I started with Rode mic, the Rode NT5 Omnis. It sounded very good. I made all my expertise with these mics, like lower or higher, lower, all that. Mm-hmm. And then just recently, a few months ago, the firma Neumann had a good idea, and they knew about the Snario and they knew about the Wurst, and they asked me, "Hey, what do you think about these microphones?" And it's Omni, and they have this swan neck, because that helped a lot. Because before that, I had to build, a very complicated thing for the snare drum, because sometimes you have drummers with lots of pedals and you don't put two microphone stands underneath the snare. So I had this combination of hardware, clamps and all that. And then Neumann came up with the idea to use swan necks, so I can put the mics on the snare drum itself. Mm. So it has a perfect length, and I said, well, thank you very much. And, they use the MCM, they built this MCM mics. It's called a micro.
Tiny little capsule.
They are so small that even when I show them, you won't see them, it's like this.
Yeah.
No. But they are very, very small. And when I heard them the first time, I was like, wow, really cool idea. Yep. Instead of having like two mics, with this size underneath the snare, you just have these small Omnis, and that's a very good design. Also for the Wurst, normally my standard mic for the Wurst is a Shure SM57, and so a dynamic mic because of compression and heavy treatment, and you don't get too much high frequencies and all that into your mic. And then Neumann asked me to use the MCM cardioid, but it's a condenser, and I thought, well, okay, condenser, so I have to get rid of the high frequencies. But then I realized that these high frequencies sound very good. So even in compression, even in distortion, and I had this fantastic low end. So it was the very first time that, wow, it's fun to even push the low frequencies in the Wurst position. So heavily, like 11. So I guess I have a Wurst second generation now, but version 2 now.
V2.
V2. It's
V2.
MCM by Neumann.
One other thing I wanted to mention was you've got a Fender amp sitting in there.
Yep.
And you take a send from the snare and go into it and then mic it up to get the spring reverb sound.
Spring reverb, yes. Yep. It's a very simple idea. I mean,
it's great though.
It's nothing special.
Yeah. Well,
lots of people do this.
Not as many as you would think. Not as many as you would think. And I think you use. Wait, did you use this on the snare top as well? You used.
Nope.
What did you?
Nope. I used for the snare top. I used this one. because same story. Normally, I go with my SM57 for snare drum. I got used to it, and it's a standard in the world, and there's a reason why. And I was surprised again that that's very close to the SM57. Good microphone. I imagine that also it's good for guitars. Maybe.
I'm sure it is. Fantastic. The last thing really to talk about when it comes to all of the recording process here, doing this masterclass, is probably your old friend sitting behind you.
Yes.
The Hansa Blue.
The Hansa Blue, yeah.
Yeah.
What can I say? This is working with this desk is like an instrument, playing an instrument. Working on a very old Neve is just once you fix the levels and the sounds, you don't do anything. You know what I mean? So you say, wow, it sounds so cool. And then, it's a Neve. Well, this desk is like, okay, here we go. It has so many possibilities. And I mean, I have 56 compressors, gates, groove gates, not noise gates, groove gates. So what can I say? It's these are, when I in a recording, I have on the auxiliaries, I have delays and reverb. I send the delays to other delays, and I feedback them on the return. I have everything is under control. I can. I never work in a chair on this desk. I have to dance, I have to move, and it inspires me. I see all these knobs, say, yeah, let's do it. And then, wow, cool, like this. And then I have to control it. And then it's so easy because you have a compressor. Sometimes when I have feedback, I have too much feedback. And before it hits the converter, I have the limiter, on each channel that just says, okay, fair enough. You do what you have to do. I take care about the level. Wow. And then you have to have Nanny Johansson. And then you are on the very safe side. And what can I say? I mean, I learned on this desk in 87, so it's a long time ago.
This exact desk in this exact studio.
It's exactly the same desk. On this desk, Thomas Stieler mixed Killing Jokes, Love is Like Blood.
Yeah.
She's a very good friend. She is a very good friend.
She certainly is. Moses, thank you ever so much.
Hey.
That was a huge amount of fun. It's been an amazing 6 days. Thank you for everything.
Yeah, thank you for having the possibility to check out all these mics and all that stuff. And all I can say is I hope you had a great time, but you had a great time.
We had an amazing time, yeah.
As we say, hast du gut gemacht, ne?
Thank you. There's laughter. Thanks very much. Thanks, everyone. Check out Moses' course down below. It is the masterclass of 3 solid days of recording here with the artist Zathi. And it's a lot of fun, and you will learn a lot. And there's 3 songs. Yes, 1, 2, 3 songs. Thanks, everyone. So long. Farewell. Auf Wiedersehen. Au revoir. Adios. Ciao. And tschüss.